Jnanakosha, Puranas, Introduction.
सर्गच्च प्रतिसर्गच्च वंशो मन्वन्तराणि च वंशानुचरितं चैव पुराणं पञ्चलक्षणम्.
Vishnu Purana, Part 1, Second Part. Dhruva's migration to the forest. Swayambhu Manu had two sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapad. Uttanapad had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. Suruchi had a son Uttam, while Suniti had also a son Dhruva. King Uttanapad loved Suruchi more than he loved Suniti. One day the king was sitting on the throne. Prince Uttam was playing in his lap. Meanwhile, Dhruva also arrived there and insisted to play in the lap of his father. At his insistence, Queen Suruchi ridiculed that he was not born into her. He had no right to be king's love. So your insistence is useless. Though you are also a son of this king, but this throne belongs to my son. Don't you know that you have been born to Suniti? Getting angry over his stepmother's ridicules, Dhruva went to his mother. Suniti consoled her son and inquired about the reason for his anger. Dhruva narrated the whole thing to his mother. Suniti too got perplexed and said, "O son, Suniti speaks the truth, that you don't worry, for no one can do away the virtues of your deeds that you performed in your previous birth. Hence you should not feel sorry over such petty things. If you feel really sorry by the words of your stepmother, why don't you try to gather virtues? Why don't you try to be a gentle and altruistic person?" Thus consoled by Mother, Dhruva said, "Mother, since now onwards I will do every such thing so that I may attain the most respected position in the world. I am no longer desirous of getting a position granted by others. I will achieve the same position as my father has." Saying this, Dhruva left the palace and the town and reached a dense forest. 7 Munishwars were already present in the forest. Dhruva greeted them all and said very politely, "O great sages, I am the Prince Dhruva. King Uttanapad is my father and his younger queen Suniti is my mother. I have arrived here out of desperation." The sages said, "O Prince, you are just a small boy. You have no reason to be worried because your father is still alive and neither you have any disease. What then caused you such a severe desperation?" Dhruva narrated the whole events and also that how his stepmother Suruchi ridiculed about his inferior position in the palace. The sages said, "O Prince, kindly tell us whatever you have decided to do to change your destiny and also tell us if we can help you in any way." Dhruva said, "O sages, I neither long for wealth or for the kingdom. I simply long to enjoy such a position that nobody have ever enjoyed earlier. Kindly help me and guide me what I should do to attain such a position." Marichi said, "O Prince, nobody can attain such an unparalleled position without the worship of Govinda. So you also worship that eternal supreme being." Atri said, "He who is far above the tangible can only satisfy him and bring you that supreme position." Angira said, "Go and worship Govind who holds the entire universe within him." Pulasya said, "Even the wretched people attain the rare salvation worshipping Hari." Pulha said, "Go and worship that Vishnu, worshipping whom even Indra attained the position of the God's king." Kratu said, "Go and worship Janardhana, who is supreme, who is deity of the Yajnas and Yajna himself." Vasishtha said, "O son, you will attain whatever you wish by worshipping Lord Vishnu." Dhruva said, "O sages, at my prayers all of you told me about whom I should worship. Now kindly tell me, what should I do to please the Lord?" The sage said it is imperative for a person who wishes to worship Lord Vishnu that first of all he should expel all other menial thoughts from his mind and replace them with the contemplation Lord alone. O Prince, thus concentrate on that omnipotent eternal Lord with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Your grandfather Swayambhu Manu had himself recited this mantra during the previous age and had received the perfection of his desire. Dhruva pleases God with his penance. The prince Dhruva greeted the sages and continued on his journey. At last he reached a beautiful forest, Madhuvan, on the bank of the river Yamuna. It was the same forest which was later occupied by a demon Madhu. Satrughna, the youngest brother of Lord Rama, had killed the demon Lavan, the son of Madhu, in the same forest and founded the township of Mathura. In the same forest, Prince Dhruva decided to carry out his penance. As per the dictate of the sages, he began to recite the mantra continuously. Very soon the earth began to move because of Dhruva's severe penance. Even the seat of Indra could not remain stable. A stampede resulted among the gods. The gods then hatched a conspiracy to disturb the penance. According to the plan, an illusionary image of Suniti, Dhruva's mother, appeared before him and pleaded, O son, please stop this severe penance that is bound to decay your body. I got you after great desire and worship. It is not proper for you to take your stepmother's words so seriously and desert your real mother. You are my only support. You are only 4 or 5 years old. Presently you should pay more attention to your plays and studies. Why are you observing such a severe penance then? O son, if you don't give up your penance right now, I will give my life. But Dhruva was so much sunk in the contemplation of Lord Vishnu that he did not hear the wailing of his mother. His mother then said, Run, O son, run away to save your life. Look, formidable demons are approaching. They are carrying lethal weapons. Suddenly that illusionary image blew out intense fire from her mouth. That fire took appearance of many dreadful monsters who were shouting loudly like, Kill him, eat him. Those monsters bore the heads of lion, camel, crocodile, and appeared extremely formidable. The monsters were roaring loudly. But Dhruva's mind was deeply in contemplation. He neither saw the monsters or heard the noises made by them. Thus, seeing their all attempts failed, the gods decided to take refuge at Lord Vishnu. There they said, O Lord, we have come to you perplexed by the severe penance of Dhruva, the son of Uttanapad. His penance is increasing like a waxing moon. We are not sure if he desires for the position of Indra, Surya, Kubera, Varuna, or any other deity, but kindly remove our fears. Assuring the gods, the Lord said, The boy has no desire for attaining the position of any deity, but I will definitely grant him whatever he desires. But all of you need not worry. The gods greeted the Lord and returned. Ultimately pleased by the severe penance of Dhruva, Lord Vishnu appeared before him in his formal 4-armed form and said, Dhruva, may it all be well for you. I am very much pleased with you. Hearing these words, Dhruva opened his eyes and to his amazement found Lord Vishnu standing before him. For a moment he did not believe his eyes. Standing before him was the same Lord Vishnu whom he used to see in contemplation. For a moment Dhruva forgot how to pray God. He then took refuge of God and said, O Lord, if you are pleased with me, kindly bless me with power to pray you. My mind is exhilarated with devotion for you. It wishes to pray you. Hearing these words, the Lord touched Dhruva with his conch, and as soon as it happened, an unbinding stream of devotional prayer sprang from Dhruva's mouth. At the contemplation of the prayer, Lord Vishnu said, O son, your penance succeeds with my sight, but my presenting a sight should also not go waste. So seek a boon of your desire. Dhruva said, O Lord, nothing is hidden from you, divine sight. I started this severe penance out of desperation caused by the harsh words of my stepmother. She had ridiculed my insistence of playing in my father's lap, saying that I was not born to her. I had no right to the king's love. Hence, O Lord, I wish to attain such a position that could be the base of the entire universe. Lord said, O son, you were born in a Brahmin family in your previous birth. Then you had pleased me by your obedience to the religion. You were also a friend of a prince and wished to enjoy the same royal luxuries that your friend was enjoying. You had in fact wished to be a prince. Hence, O son, you are born as a prince in this birth. It is rare to get a place in the lineage of Swayambhu Manu. But this honor has no value for a devotee like you. O son, I will definitely accord you the position that is excellent among all the three worlds. In future, you will be the base of all the planets and all the constellations. I grant you a fixed position that is far above the sun, the moon, the planets, constellations, Saptarishis, and all the gods who fly about in divine aircraft. Besides it, you will stay there for a complete kalpa, whereas even the gods do not stay in their positions more than a single manvantara. Your mother Suniti too will come to stay with you as a bright star for the same period of time. There she will stay on an aircraft. People will see you with faith, for you will show them the right direction. Thus, receiving a boon from Lord Vishnu, Dhruva occupied a fixed position in the northern sky. Even the sage like Sukracharya praises Dhruva that how fortunate he is that even Saptarishis go around him. That pivotal position of Dhruva would continue even in the ages to come. Tale of the king Vena and Prithu. Parashar says, with the help of Dhruva, his wife gave birth to two sons, Shishti and Bhavya. Shishti had 5 sons, Ripu, Ripunjaya, Vipra, Vikal, and Vrikriteja. Ripu had a brilliant son, Chakshasu. Chakshasu had a son, Manu. Manu had sons, Puru, Kuru, Stadhyaman, Tapasvi, Satyavan, Suchi, Agnihotam, Atrirata, Sudhyama, and Abhimanyu. Kuru had sons, Anga, Suman, Khyati, Kratu, Angira, and Shivi. Anga had a son named Vena. The sages had chosen the right hand of Vena to produce a son named Vainya. The later on became renowned as Prithu. He had even milked the earth for the benefit of his subjects. Maitreyi says, why did the sages turn Vena's hand? What was their purpose of getting Prithu? Parashar said, Mrityu had his first child as a daughter named Sunita, who was married to Anga. Sunita had given birth to Vena. Vena had all the faults of his maternal grandfather Mrityu and hence was devil-like in nature. At the same time of his coronation, Vena had declared, I am the god and the Yajna Purusha. Hence, in future, no one shall perform yajnas and donate dakshina. The sages praised him and said, O king, we speak about the benefit of you and your subjects. Through grand yajnas we shall worship omnipotent Lord Hari. Thus pleased he will grant all your desires. O king, in the kingdom of which kings Lord Hari is worshipped as the presiding deities of yajna, he fulfills all their desires. When I said, who is greater than me and even venerable, whom you regard as the presiding deity of the yajnas, All the deities like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, Indra, Vayu are present in the body of the king. Hence, the king has all the virtues of these deities. Therefore, do what I say. Such a woman's duty is to serve her husband. Similarly, it is your duty of all of you to obey my dictate. The sages tried to convince Vena repeatedly, but in vain. At last, when he did not agree to their proposal, the sages killed him. Immediately after killing the king, the sages saw the clouds of dust rising all around. It was revealed to them upon inquiry that the subjects of a kingless kingdom have resorted to plundering and looting each other, and it was because of that stampede that clouds of dust were rising. The sages then churned the thighs of issueless king and produced an ugly black man. He was feeling excited and asked the sages that he should do. The sages asked him to Nishad, sit down, hence he came to be known as Nishad. His progeny came to be known as Nishad Naga. Appearance of Nishad did away with all the sins of the Vena. The sages then churned Vena's right hand and produced a pervasive Prithvi, whose body was radiating like fire. As soon as he appeared, bow and arrow and shield of Lord Shiva descended from heaven, and all the subjects felt extreme joy. With the birth of such a pious man, Vena attained a position in the heaven. For the coronation of Prithu, Brahma himself had appeared there with the water from all the rivers and oceans, all kinds of gems, and along with all the deities. Presence of chakra in right hand of Prithu pleased Brahma. This chakra of Lord Vishnu is present in the hands of extremely dominating king. Such a king remains unaffected even by the gods. Thus occupying the royal throne, King Prithu was a boon for his subjects. He was so religious that the seas and mountains paved way for him. His flag always remained fresh and new. Even there was no need to sow the seeds. The earth herself provided all the cereals. Cows gave milk spontaneously, and every leaf of the trees in the kingdom was full of honey. Immediately after his appearance, King Prithu organized a grand yajna. At the time of Soma Bhishek, bathing with grape wine, during the yajna, a man and a woman appeared from the earth. The sages advised them to pray King Prithu. With folded hands, they asked that the king had arrived moments before them. His reputation had not spread far and wide. Why should then they praise such a king? The sage said that they should praise the king for the great achievement he would attain in future. King Prithu thought that it was because of merits that a man becomes praiseworthy. Hence I will do exactly the same things that this couple would recite during the prayers, thought the king. Thus during the later course, King Prithu planted those virtues firmly in his consciousness and ruled this earth. During his rule, he performed many great yajnas. During the anarchy of his father's regime, all the vegetation had been destroyed from all over the earth. There was nothing for the subjects to satisfy their hunger with, so they approached him and said, "O great king, due to the anarchy of your father's regime, the earth had annihilated all the cereals within her. Your subjects have no choice but to starve. Kindly protect us from this condition." Pitiable condition of the subjects infuriated King Prithu. Taking the divine weapons of Lord Shiva, he ran after the earth. In guise of the cow, the earth ran in all the three worlds, but wherever she went, she found Prithu still chasing her. Thus shivering with fear, she ultimately appeared before him and said, "O king, don't you see the sin in killing a helpless woman?" Prithu said, If killing a wretched person benefits scores of other people, there is no sin doing so. The earth said, you want to kill me in the interest of your subjects, but think what will be the base of the subject then. Prithu said, you need not worry about that. I will myself support my subjects. These words frightened the earth. She greeted the king and said, O king, all the tasks started with a distinct purpose reached their completion successfully. So I am telling you a way out of the present condition. Do then as you desire. I can give out all the herbs and cereals that I have annihilated in the form of milk. So for the benefit of the subjects, kindly produce such a calf for which I can give milk spontaneously with motherly feeling. You then provide me with a plain surface everywhere so that I can produce milk, that is the seed of all the cereals and herbs. King Prithu then uprooted many great mountains with his bow and arrows and stored them at a single place. Before that there was no distinct demarcation of the village, towns, cities. Because of the plain surface of the earth, and there was no distinct sequence of cereals, cows, agriculture and trade, all these systems started from the time of Prithu. Since then people began to populate those parts of the earth that were plain. For the benefit of his subjects, King Prithu himself milked all the cereals from earth, making Swayambhu Manu a calf. It is the cereals that still sustain the entire population of the world. Since then King Prithu came to be known as the father of the earth, because he had spread her life. And he also spared her life. Birth of Prachin Bhari and Prachetas, pray God. King Prithu had two sons, Antaradhan and Vadi, who were very religious minded themselves. Antaradhan's wife Shikhandi gave birth to Avirdhan. Prachin Bhari was the son of Avirdhan and his wife Ghishna, Shukra, Gaya, Krishna, Vrij and Arjun for their other son. Prachin Bhari was a great fosterer of his subjects. Through continuous oblations, he increased his subjects to great limits. King Prachin Bhari married again with Savaran, the daughter of Mudra, and they together produced 10 sons. All of them were known as Prachetas, who were expert in the art of archery. All of them observed serious penance under the sea for 10,000 years. Maitreya says, O great sage, kindly narrate to us the reason for which Prachetas observed severe penance under the sea. Parashar says, once by the inspiration of Brahma, King Prachin Bhari asked his son Prachetas to continue the progeny in an honored way. Prachetas agreed to obey the dictate of their father, but they asked, O father, kindly narrate to us what should we do to enable ourselves so that we could carry out the process of reproduction. King Prachin Bhari said that the worship of Lord Vishnu was the only thing that enabled a person to achieve his desired objectives. He dictated his sons to worship Lord Vishnu. It was by the dictate of the father that all the 10 Prachas observed severe penance for 10,000 years under the sun. And under the sea they were. At the end of their penance, Sri Hari appeared before them, radiating with blue light like a freshly bloomed blue lotus. Accepting the greetings of the Prachetas, Lord Vishnu asked them to seek a boon. Prachetas then told the dictate of their father. Lord granted their boon, therefore all the Prachetas re-emerged from the waters. Marriage of Prachetas and birth of Prajapatis. Parashar says, during the time when Prachetas were engaged in penance, the earth was unprotected. Hence huge trees came to cover her everywhere on land. Their foliage was so dense that cut off entire sky and the sun could not reach the surface of the earth. After their emergence from the sea, Prachetas got very angry when they saw the trees. In anger, they let out formidable flames mixed with ghastly winds and uprooted all the trees before reducing them to ashes. A massive destruction of the trees followed. Seeing that, Soma, the king of the trees, approached Prachetas and requested, "O kings, kindly relinquish your anger and listen to what I say. I will meditate a pact between the trees and you. The trees have produced an extremely pretty girl named Marisha. Her creation has been meant only for the continuation of your progeny. She will produce Daksha, Prajapati, who will be as radiant as the fire and cause much increase in your progeny further." In the ancient times, a great savant of Vedas, sage Kandu, was observing penance at the bank of river Gomati. Frightened by his penance, Indra sent an Apsara, Prabhalocha, to create a disturbance. That elf successfully created a disturbance in the penance of Kandu, who then began to live with her in a cave. Kandu passed 100 years enjoying sensual pleasures with the Apsara. One day the Apsara expressed her desire to leave for her heavenly abode. This came as a shock for the sage Kandu. He requested her to stay for some more time with him. The Apsara agreed to his request and stayed with him for another 100 years. Then once again she expressed her desire to leave for her heavenly abode. Once again, blinded by lust, the sage requested her to stay for some more time. Once again, the Apsara stayed for another 100 years with Kandu. Thus, every time when the Apsara got ready to leave, sage stopped her. The Apsara knew about the agony of separation that a person experiences who is blinded by lust. She also feared the curse that such a person might pour down out of agony. Thus she herself did not desert the sage, and their love kept in increasing like a new moon. One day towards the evening, the sage hurriedly left his hut. Amazingly, Prabhalocha inquired about the reasons why he was going out in such a hurry. The sage replied that as it was dusk, he should offer his evening prayers. The sage's reply amazed the Apsara further. Laughingly he said, "O knower of religion, your day has ended after hundreds of years. Who will not be surprised to learn that your day ends after hundreds of years?" The sage said, "You had arrived at the river bank right in the morning today. You passed the whole day with me and now it is evening. Why do you laugh at me then?" Prabhalocha said, "O Brahmin, hundreds of years have passed since I have arrived at your hut." Perplexed sage asked her, "Tell me exactly how much time has passed in our present communion." Prabhalocha told the sage that they have altogether passed 907 years, 6 months and 3 days. Hearing this, the sage began to curse himself that he was so sunk in the carnal pleasure with the Apsara that he even forgot the time. He also began to fret that his whole penance had been brought to naught. Thus cursing her himself, the sage also scolded the Apsara and asked her to leave his hut at once. The Apsara was shivering in fear while her whole body was drenched in sweat. When she left the hermitage, she wiped her sweat with the leaves of the trees. While having carnal pleasures with the sage, Prabhalocha had convinced. Her fetus also oozed out in the form of sweat and was collected on the leaves. The wind brought the different parts of the fetus together while I nourished it with my rays. Thus the fetus grew safely and ultimately took birth as a girl child, Marisha. The trees will present you that same girl as your wife, said Soma. On the other hand, after his penance was disturbed, sage Kundu migrated to Purushottama region, Jagannath Puri, and began his penance afresh to please Lord Vishnu. Tale of Marisha's previous birth. Marisha, daughter of sage Kandu and Prabhalocha, was a queen in her previous birth. She had lost her husband without having any child. She had then pleased Lord Vishnu with her devotion. The Lord had then asked her to seek a boon. She said, O Lord, having been widowed at a young age, I feel that my life has gone futile. I am very unfortunate. Hence, O Lord, may I have by your grace a virtuous husband like you and sons like Prajapati in my next birth. May I take birth not from the body of my mother. Lord Vishnu said, all your wishes shall come true in your next birth. You will have 10 possessive and popular husbands. With their help you will give birth to Prajapati, whose progeny will populate all the 3 worlds. You will take birth not from your mother's body, still you will be unmatched in beauty. Thus coerced by Soma, Prachetas dropped their angry stance and accepted Marisha as their wife. From the parts of Prachetas, Marisha gave birth to Daksha Prajapati, who had emerged from Brahma earlier. Following the dictate of Brahma, Daksha Prajapati produced different kinds of living beings as his children. First of all, he created women folk from his mind. He got 10 of those women married to Dharma. 13 women were married to Kashyapa, while 27 were married to Chandrama. All the gods, demons, nagas, cows, birds, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Jains, etc. are the progeny of those 50 women. Maitreya says, O great sage, I want to hear the tale of origin of the gods, the demons and all other creatures in detail. Parashara said, Daksha created the sages, Gandharvas, demons and serpents from his mind first. But none of those creatures could continue the progeny. So with an intention of producing his progeny through carnal union, Daksha married Asikini, the daughter of another Prajapati. Daksha and Asikini together produced 5,000 sons. All of those sons were eager to continue the process of reproduction. When Devarishi Narada approached them and said, O children, it appears from your action that all of you are eager to begin the process of reproduction right now. But before you do anything, kindly listen to what I say. All of you are so ignorant that you do not know anything about the earth. How then will you carry out the reproduction? Look, you can move anywhere in the universe, so why don't you go and see the end of the earth? That motivated by Narada, all the 5,000 sons of Daksha dived into the sea and never returned thereafter, like a river annihilates in the ocean. Daksha then married Vairuni and produced 1,000 sons. They also intended to carry out reproduction but were misguided by Narada. They too followed the footsteps of their elder brothers. Learning about the fate of his sons, Daksha cursed Narada. Then Daksha and Vairuni gave birth to 60 daughters. 10 of them were married to Dharma, 13 to Kashyapa, 27 to Soma, 4 to Arishtanemi and 2 to Angira and Krishava each. Arundhati, Vasu, Yami, Lamba, Banu, Marutvi, Shankalpa, Muhurta, Sandhya and Vishwa were the wives of Dharma. Vishwa gave birth to Vishadeva, Sandhya to Sandhya Gana, Marutvan was the son of Marutvati. Vasu gave birth to 8 Vasus, Lamba gave birth to Ghosha, Yami to Nagaviti, whereas Arundhati gave birth to all other creatures that dwell on earth. Sankalpa produced Sankalpa, that is omnipresent solution. Names of the 8 Vasus were Ap, Dhruva, Soma, Dharma, Anil, Anala, Pratyusha and Prabhas. Vaitand, Sharma, Shant and Dhavani were the sons of Up. All annihilating Kal was the son of Dhruva. Varcha was the son of Soma. Dravin, Huta, Ityavar, Shishir, Pran, and Varuna were the sons of Dharma. Manoj and Avidya Gati were the sons of Anil. Shara, Stambha, Shaka, Vishaka, and Naigameya were the sons of Anil. Pratyusha had a son Deval. Vastastri, the sister of Brihaspati, was the wife of Prabhas. They had Vishwakarma as their son. Vishwakarma himself had 4 sons: Ajaikapada, Ahir, Budhyana, Twasta, and Rudra. The great Panancer Vishwarupa was the son of Twasta. O great sage, Har, Bahurup, Trayambak, Aparjit, Vrishkapi, Shambhu, Kapardi, Raivat, Mritvayad, Sharpa, and Kapila are the 11 Rudras. Sage Kashyap had 13 wives: Aditi, Diti, Danu, Arishta, Surasa, Khasa, Surabhi, Vinata, Tamra, Krodavamsha, Ira, Khadru, and Muni. Now listen to the description of their progenies. During the previous Manvantara, there were 12 gods named Trushti. At the end of the Manvantara, they met together and said, O brothers, let us now enter the womb of Aditi and take birth as the gods again in Vaishvashanta Manvantara. Thus Vishnu, Indra, Aryama, Data, Twasta, Pusha, Vaivaswan, Savita, Maitra, Varuna, Anshu, and Bhaga. These 12 sons of Aditi came to be known as Aditya. The 27 wives of Soma gave birth to many talented sons. Wives of Arishtanemi gave birth to 16 sons. Thus in all 33 gods, including 8 Vasus, 11 Rudra, 12 Aditya, Prajapati, and Vashatkar, have been described in the Vedas. All of them are capable of taking birth at will. Just as the sun rises and sets, similarly these gods also appear in different yugas. From the part of Kashyapa, Diti gave birth to 2 invincible sons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and a daughter, Singhika, who was married to Viprachit. Hiranyakashipu had 4 sons, Anuhalad, Ahalad, Shahalad, and Prahalad.